Alrighty, what is going on, ladies and gents? Welcome back to the channel for another market update. Hope everybody had a lovely day. And with that being said, let's get into the TA. Guys, some more exciting stuff today. All right, I'm just going to say we had relatively flat price action. They traded you flat the whole day. You had barely any range, just like yesterday until the end of the day. But what I will say, guys, is we have a 15-minute bearish divergence over here in SPY. We have the same thing on QQQ. And where is price? Price is right here at 517 to 518 over here on SPY. Now, if you have been following along with the channel, then you know this is the exact spot. See this zone right here? This is what we were paying attention to. You got this little price gap over here on the 15-minute time frame. My guess was this was where sellers were going to be stepping in. All right, now we do have a spinning top candlestick on the day on SPY. We have the same exact look over here on QQQ. All right, you did have this rising wedge that did get an upward breakout. You got the break and retest off of that. But I want to come over here to SPY. We actually do have one over here on the 15-minute time frame that did just start breaking down. All right, so you got that to pay attention to right there. And then where's the upper trend line, guys? The upper trend line's right there, right? So you get 3 touch points on the bottom, 2 on the top. Makes it valid. All right, so that's what you need. You guys need 5 touch points total for these pennants or wedges. That is what makes a wedge a valid pattern. All right, you got a 1, you have a 2, you have a 3, a 4, and a 5. And you can add a 6, but we'll call it a 5. You got to break down. You got the 15-minute bearish divergence going on. I don't think that's all she wrote. I think this thing's going to see some more downside. So guys, from here, level to level, we don't know if this is just going to give us that $5 to $8 pullback. But even with that $5 to $8 pullback, guys, we're realistically here, we're looking at $511.99, $512 is what I'm talking about. All right, so you know, in the short term, guys, we are looking for price to stall out right where it is right now. Now is the defining moment. All right, bears. Okay, a lot of you wanted to start screaming from the top of your freaking lungs that we're going to 480, and I was saying, guys, I don't think we got, you know, much downside. I am definitely wrong, okay, from time to time. Guaranteed, I'm early a lot of times, all right, but I'm usually not wrong. This move was the thing that we were, you know, seeing coming. Guess what? When we were saying that this move was coming, we were saying that it would be a counter trend rally, because on the weekly time frame, you already started to look like this. You already saw something that looks like this. So we are going to be following this thing right here to a T. All right. This was the game plan the whole time. So keep in mind. All right. This was the plan to get right where we are right now. Now is the time where you have to remember what we were planning down there. And guess what? Now is the time to sell. It doesn't have to sell from here, but I'll tell you right now, if you were to get your daily close up of this 0.786 FIB, I am just going to be the one to say, this thing's probably just going to come back up here and revisit the high at 525. All right. Now, I don't think that's going to happen. I think this is going to be a lower high, and then we're going to at least, like, let's look at it this way. From right here, this is what I see. Okay. You pull back, you can get bought up to a new high. Okay. This pullback is going to create a higher low, and then creates the liquidity for the move that we're going to see higher. All right, if I had to guess, if it's going to get this scenario, you're going to come back, you're going to break and retest off of this level right here, which would be, which one is this? Because we got a lot of lines, all right? This is 510.77, all right? The actual high of that candlestick is 510.75. If I had to guess, all right, scenario number 1 is you come and revisit 510.75. You have everyone crapping their pants, but in reality, guys, $5 sell from the pop is what we look for when we see those 15-minute bearish divergence. Guys, this is giving us our $5 to $8 sell, and then that's satisfied. All right, and then from that point, we watch to see if we have any confluence going on down there. All right, do we have a 15-minute bullish divergence? I don't know. But picture perfect scenario, you are going to get up to 517 to 518, and you're going to be stalling out there. All right. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for you to stall it right here. All right. So in the short term, what could that really look like, guys? Well, you have this low right here. You're clearly basing out here. This could actually just be a bear flag. All right. You go like that. All right. And then you break down. Maybe you get a break and retest tomorrow. I don't know. But, you know, I will definitely say right now, this daily setup we have right here with these spinning top candlesticks is exactly what we were looking for some sort of reversal. On yesterday's video, we did say, hey, we think you're probably going to go a little higher because nothing here suggests immediate downside. On the weekly video, we definitely pointed out we don't think you go much higher, but 517 to 518 is where sellers are, very likely going to be stepping in this time around. We think you have some more upside. We don't think you have much more upside. All right. But this candlestick right here did not suggest immediate downside. It suggested we are going to put in a reversal candlestick, an indecision candlestick, all right, or a bullish candlestick. It did not suggest we were going to get a big fat red bar this week, all right? So that is something I made very clear in the weekly update. Guess what? Now we are creating that flat week that could have potentially, could potentially form that we talked about in the weekly update. How would you create that flat week? All right? How would you create a not so bullish looking candlestick here? Because guys, I do think we're going to stall out here and then we're going to have this next leg down. All right. So we just covered scenario number 1, which I think is less likely than this scenario right here. I think we come down and undercut that low. Okay. I think you probably, honestly, if we're going to get this scenario, you probably don't really get a bounce at all. You're probably going to see some relentless selling come out of nowhere. And that would be that. But guys, to create this, I know we got a lot of, crap on the screen right here. To create that indecision candlestick, all right, or reversal candlestick, you are going to go up, you create a wick, you come down, all right, and you close somewhere down here on the week, 514, we're going to say 514 to 515. That would create your shooting star candlestick. There you go, okay? Or you put in a bearish engulfing. You engulf the body of this candlestick. We're going to close down at like 508 to 509. That's another option. I don't think you close out with another bullish candlestick, though, that suggests further upside right away. I don't think so. I think we got this going. All right. I noted over here how when you bounce back, you had this bullish candlestick. And guess what? You then turned it into a neutral weekly setup because you traded flat. And then boom, you fell off. But when you get this, it doesn't suggest immediate downside. This is the flat weekly candlestick that I speak of that could be formed. All right. So all in all, guys, we're looking for a sell from like pretty much exactly where we are right now. It doesn't get much better than that. Scenario number 1, we go down for that higher low. And we are probably going to be doing something like that. Okay, so regardless what scenario we get, we probably do get something like that if we're going to start rolling over here because, bearish structure. All right, you had this low. Okay, you had a chance to launch off to this base here. You didn't. You broke down instead, and now you started this bearish base. Okay, break down from that. You're going to have a 15-minute downtrend. Okay, just like you've been consistently making them higher lows and higher highs, you now have a shot to do the reverse of that. Uno reverso. Okay, so there's that. Next thing I am going to actually point to before we go any further, so I don't forget, VIX, guys, your 4-hour RSI is getting down to the same spot. We typically do see these bounces, all right? So it doesn't have to go down that way, but, VIX has definitely, I would say, has been crushed at this point. And, this is something to pay attention to. When VIX, gets down here, you typically start getting some bounces. You have the hourly bullish divergence going on. You have the 15-minute bullish divergence going on. You've been forming these divergences for quite some time here. Okay, so you do have that, something's in the works, most likely, on Mr. VIX. That is what I'm getting at. All right, and if that's going to be the case, well, SPY is probably, it aligns with what we're talking about over here in SPY. All right, so there's scenario number 1, which I think is unlikely. All right, scenario number 2, you're going to follow this right here. And instead of, getting this, see how you got a rebound here, you're going to die. Okay, you're going to come down here and you're going to bust them down. All right, and you're going to get that relentless freaking sell. What do I speak of? This, where you see these dead cat bounces straight up get sold. All right, you're going to have your bounces. Okay, maybe you come down here, maybe you bounce back up, boom, then you get sold. Okay, so that's going to be your tell, guys. How are we getting treated on these bounces? Okay, we're going to get this move. No matter what, it's very likely going to come. What happens after the move is the important part. Do you get a bounce that gets back up here, or do you get something that, is, you could very clearly see, is it going to be a dead cat bounce that then gets sold? Once we see bounce, take out that low, we know we have this scenario. In this scenario, we very likely are going to take out this low. All right, so here's the tell, guys. Here's going to be the tell, what we're going to get out of this. For me, all right, this is my tell that I'm putting together right now here on the spot, guys. That's the thing about my videos, all right? I do preparation before, but in reality, guys, we're preparing together. We do the charting together, and we create our thesis. I mean, obviously, I got the thesis running in the back of my mind all the time, but yeah, this is where I vocalize that thesis. And yeah, you really get to see firsthand how I do this. All right. So if you are a fan of that, you know, stick around. If you're not already subscribed, subscribe, hit the bell. It doesn't cost you anything. You can literally unsubscribe tomorrow, and you know, no harm is done. But you know, best case scenario, you get to, you know, unsubscribe from here, but you get to walk away with something. All right, you get some new methods here to go about you know, your intraday trading over here. Okay, or your swing trade, whatever trading you do. All right, you get something to walk away that benefits you there. Okay. But yeah, the tell, guys, is really going to be this bounce, because either way, you're probably going to get this move down, the $5 to $8 sell. The question is, we're not going to know if it's going to be a dead cat bounce when it's bouncing. We know if it comes down and it takes out the low. Okay. So if you get, let's look at it this way. All of these, 1.3%. Okay, so we're going to say you get these 1 to 1.5% bounces, and then you get sold. So from there, yeah, holy sweep it. No, never mind. It's not going to go like this. So if we are getting a bearish scenario, you're probably going to see more of a sell, maybe down here to 508. Then you get your bounce here. Okay, dead cat bounce. So this is going to be the giveaway. If you come back down here and put in this lower low after putting in the lower high there on the hourly time frame, then I'm going to say we literally have this, okay, where you're trekking upward, trekking upward, trekking upward, boom, all right, where's the first lower high? It's going to be right here. So this would be this right here. If we're going to get it, that's how that's going to go down. Lower high, you're going to break through that lower low. See how this started a sequence or a series of just lower lows and lower highs. Well, that is what you were paying attention to. So if you get it, notice how you keep, you know, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. Well, all we need to see is proof that we're flipping the script. And then, guys, I think we probably get the scenario in which we just tank. And you literally do see this thing undercut the low. Panic is going to be back in the streets. And VIX has an opportunity to get uncrushed. All right. Do you guys remember when we were up here and, you know, everybody thought your boy was a freaking psycho? Because it's like, guys, VIX is about to get crushed. All right. Market's probably going to be bouncing around here. Well, guess what? All right. Now we have the exact reverse of what we were talking about up there. Okay. VIX has 100% been crushed at this point. Okay. I actually think, is this what I was seeing? SVIX. All right. All-time high. All right. So this is short VIX. And yeah. It is at an all-time high over here. Okay, these are things that, you know, typically, guys, you see enough things line up like we've been pointing out, and yeah, you're typically going to see these things play out. All right, so there's that. Scenario number one, base case, you're going to start rolling over here. You're going to come back down and revisit this low. Okay? Other scenario, either way, you get a pullback, anywhere from 508 to 512, we'll call it, and then you go up to a new high. And at that point with the new high, guys, you know, you just put in another higher low, followed by a higher high. We're coming up here to 525, baby. That's the plan from there. Okay, guys, you have two paths you can go from here. There's only two. There's not really a third. The third, if I had to say it, you're going to get a bunch of chop, and you're going to prepare for like a week. You get a consolidated, driving everyone crazy, preparing for that next move, and then you go up or down. If we get that scenario, though, I would say it's probably getting ready for a move up because, yeah, all right, there's that. You should be getting sellers exactly where we are. So, you know, if it's not really happening, it's not happening. There's a balance in the market, and that shouldn't be the case because, yeah, this is where sellers should be stepping in. So that's just how I see it. I know we got a lot of levels, guys. You are going to be playing this one level by level. All right, you're right here at the 0.786 fib. Right here, 44150. All right, we told you guys line in the sand, 44250. Why? Because you want to give it some room up there. Okay, we don't want to see a daily close above this level. We do not want to see that. If you see that, you're going to run up. Okay, and if, you know, you're trying to play the short side, you don't want that to be the case. Okay, they're defending it so far. You got to see them continue to defend it. But here on the 15-minute time frame, you do have the same exact bearish divergence going on right here, guys. All right, when you burn these bearish divergences, they typically mean you're going to make a new high, and then you will eventually form your next bearish divergence, and then you can continue to take a stab at it again. That's how I see these things play out. All right, continuously. You burned it right here. What happened? All right, or actually, I think it was SPY that kept burning it. You burned it right over here on this candlestick. You burned it. All right, you had a high over here of 76.56, 76.91. So by this candlestick right here, you knew that this bullish consolidation was likely going to result in some further upside. That's how that works. And then you put in another one. There you go. QQQ, same thing. We're looking for that $5 to $8 sell. If I had to take a guess at it, you're coming back to this level right here, 433.71. The high of that candlestick is actually 433.76 though. So that could be a level if you want to change that. There's that, but this is a key level that I was paying attention to from all the way back over here. Okay. All right. You clearly have your reactions off this level. So if you come back, that's definitely a key spot. All right. So if buyers are going to step in, probably happens there, or it'll happen right here. But if I had to guess, it would be right here. And then you could go back up. Okay. Or you get this, you get this, you get this. Okay. Probably it would be something like this. So those are the two scenarios moving forward on QQQ. And then you have what we talked about in SPY. Same exact thing. All right. One bullish, one bearish, both involve a pullback. You see that triple bearish divergence at IWM right as you come into a key level? Okay. That's what we're talking about, baby. That's what we're talking about. All right. So you got that going on. You're looking for sellers to be here in the golden pocket. All right. You got the bearish divergence going on. If you come up here and break this 0.786 fib, which is not too far away from today's high. All right, guys, it is not the time to flip from bearish to bullish. If you've been bearish right here, you're right here. You might as well just wait to see if you will be invalidated. I am serious. This is your line in the sand. And over here, I'm sure you are pretty freaking pissed if you sold right there at the exact top. Okay? I'm pretty sure you were very freaking pissed. And this is what I'm saying. It could take some time. You see that? That creates that sideways action. That creates the weekly candlestick that goes nowhere that we spoke about in the weekly update. That creates this. That could very well be what we have loading right here. All right. So don't expect too much in the short term. Expect that move down. At least I'm expecting that move down. Okay. You're right in the spot. You got the bearish divergence. That's your warning sign. Now you're breaking structure. That's another warning sign. You had this uptrend. You started to break it. Warning sign. And you see a bunch of these things aligning. That's typically going to lead to a next move. Okay. It leads to what it's all pointing to. And what it's pointing to is that pullback. So let's get it going. But then again, DIA will bring up what I brought up the other day. We could still have some upside because this thing is not at its 0.618 fib. Last time it got to its 0.618 fib. Okay. Even though the other indices got all the way up here, this one still tapped its head over there. So, you know, don't be surprised if the S&P and the NASDAQ decide to dance around where they are right now. Okay. And DIA takes a little trip up here and then we come down. So that is something to note as well. All right. Now let's move on to individual tickers. I think we've covered the indexes in pretty, intensive detail here. All right. So let's go over it. PLTR, guys, you're right here on your trend line. If you're a buyer, this is the exact spot you want to see hold. This is the exact spot you want to take your stab at this falling knife. Okay. This is the only spot you really want to take your stab at this falling knife. Is right here on its uptrend. If it breaks down under that uptrend, that could mark a larger move. If you break here, you probably are going to take out this low, and you're probably going to go decently lower. All right. Yes, I think a bottom somewhere, a major bottom, just like over here, will occur somewhere in this. Okay, just like it did over here. All right. See how, you bounced where you are right here. You bounced, bounce. And it fails. It fails. We could consolidate here. Consolidating, you break your trend line. Boom. You come down here. And then you have your base that builds out here for a few weeks. And then you launch up from that. Realistically speaking, that is kind of exactly what I expect. All right. I spoke about it yesterday in the video and said the fact that this thing is ripping so high and this daily RSI is all the way up there, just we're probably about to get some IV crush or a bad reaction to these earnings. We got the bad reaction to earnings. I'll bring it over to the next one that we will talk about. And this one actually does have a pretty sexy setup, if I do say so myself. Guys, CELH, You now have a hammer candlestick going off of this retest. I did tell you guys I was very interested in buying down here on a gap down. I literally did not buy this thing this morning. All right. I can't tell you why. I didn't like the reaction I saw. Okay. But I will also say I saw this and then I saw this and I still didn't take it. So, you know, two positive reactions off the exact spot that I was watching. All right. That honestly looks pretty sexy to me. I'm going to be straight up on that one. You did not have good earnings. Okay. But if I had to take a guess, this thing is probably going to continue higher from here, knowing CELH. This thing still has a very sexy setup. If you do manage to go like this and then base down here, I am going to be very interested in this little pattern right here. You have this double bottom, all right? Or what you're going to do is you dance around here, and you have that. All right? You're going to have that double bottom right there with that neckline, and that's another setup loading, okay? You have this break and retest you could take your shot at, okay? Or you could wait for what I just described to develop, because it probably will develop. It's either you go straight up from here or that develops. I don't think you're going much lower than here. I think you probably just base around here, and then you'd launch. Either way, this is a strong chart, and I think this thing will continue higher. There you go, okay? Next one we're going to talk about is also a really freaking strong chart. Let's see if you have the cojones to keep freaking to keep pushing here. Same thing with NASDAQ and SPY. All right, S&P 500. You are right here at the 0.786 fib. Sellers, if you're out there, you defend this 922.25 level. Okay, you got to do it. You stepped in 5 cents early yesterday, 922.20. You're defending the high of this candlestick right here. You get above it. You're probably going to take out 928 here, and you're probably going to revisit the high. If this happens, SPY and QQQ are probably also going to revisit their highs. All right. The market loves to move with Mr. NVIDIA. Mr. NVIDIA is looking mighty bullish. We called it out down here. We called it out, you know, called it out down here on this big red day, saying it's probably not going to, you know, stick up there. And, you know, when I say these things, you know, some of the times, guys, it sounds and looks ridiculous. And then, you know, I look back and it's like, no, you know, it wasn't ridiculous at all. There you go. You broke one downtrend. Get the break and retest. You broke the second one. This thing is like, guys, just continue setting up bullishly here. Okay? This thing very well could push up higher. It very well could run into earnings. Okay? Bears, you reverse it right here. If you were there, you reverse it right here. And we watch it on that pullback. We'll watch the back test right here. And again, you know, guys, a lot of these charts align with what I pointed out. It's both scenarios, bullish or bearish. You're looking for the pullback over here in SPY and QQQ. NVIDIA aligns with both of these scenarios, okay? I'll tell you how it aligns, all right? You pull back right here. This is the bullish scenario over on SPY and QQ we talked about. On SPY, 508 to 512, you got buyers stepping up. You come up to a new high, okay? There's your higher low. Another successful back test, just like the one you had over here. All right. And then you're off to the races. Just like this one pulled back quite a bit, 7%. Okay. This one could pull back quite a bit. Have a nice lower wick here. Come right into this zone. You had a lot of confluence going on down here at this zone. All right. You also have the same thing over here. Maybe we see that. All right. And then you're off to new high. And there you go. All right. And then actually also sets up like another inverse head and shoulders pattern. I know there's so many freaking lines. All right. Shoulder, head, shoulder. Okay. Let's take that off though. All right. So there's scenario number one. Scenario, which honestly looks likely on this chart if I had to take a stab at it. Scenario number two, you're going to come down here. You're going to break this freaking uptrend. All right. Instead of bouncing right here at that uptrend, you're going to slice on through it. All right. You're going to get underneath here. And from this point, you get that. Probably that if you're going to get it. All right. Two scenarios. There's that. Okay. That is Mr. NVIDIA. I will definitely say it leans bullish. Definitely will say it leans bullish. Meta. All right. See all these gray levels? This was going to be a trade idea going into the week. All right. But then you never pulled back to where I was watching. All right. Regardless, You're coming right here into resistance. I think upside over here on Mr. Meta is limited. I think literally right here, if you get up here, 475, that's where you see sellers stepping in, and you're going to get your pullback. Excuse-moi. All right. Hood. Earnings tomorrow. After the bell. Breakout of this downtrend. Does not look terrible going into these earnings. It looks like you could have some explosive movement. Something to keep on your radar. All right. Next one we shall talk about is going to be Apple. All right. Apple, guys, it does look like it's beginning to stall out here. But then again, we're going to come over to Goog, and you actually had something very similar to this exact look, and then you grinded higher. Okay. So that is something to pay attention to. All right, next one we're going to take a look at, Carvana, guys. You see where that alert is? I think you're starting to roll over here on Mr. Carvana. All right, right where you did before. Last time you had a big unwind. Now, premiums are juiced. I understand that. There's still definitely money to be made if you're trying to short that thing. All right, I'm just going to tell you, you probably get a decent setup loading here. You're probably going to base right here. You probably pull back and just base. All right. And then eventually you have your next leg up. On that base, we watch it. All right. But yeah, I do think you're going to be pulling back right here. Is probably going to get a reaction, 97.70. And then the high over here at 93.94. Is that an accurate level? 94.04. Okay. 94.04. That is the exact level you're paying attention to. So 10 cents higher than that one. All right. Baba, you're getting your pullback. The pullback is just coming into backtest this massive range. Okay, you just broke out from this massive range. You were in this for a very long time, almost half a year. We're gonna call it 5 months. All right, 5 months of range. You think the breakout's only gonna last 4 trading sessions? I do not. I think this thing will continue higher. Okay, inverse head and shoulder breakout here on the weekly time frame. Honestly, this thing just has to hold anywhere in this zone, and you're staying bullish on it. That is a $3 zone. Okay, you buy here in the hopes that it goes here. All right, it's honestly not even too shabby. Not the prettiest, but it ain't the worst. Here's your 3-to-1. You're playing off the weekly time frame. Have that as your expectation. You're not looking this thing to just massively rip up in 1 to 2 days here. Okay, this is a weekly breakout. It could consolidate here. It could just rip up. Who knows? This thing could consolidate just like this for a few weeks and then rip up. It likes to have these moves and then consolidate. So just be ready. Okay. CELH. Another one that's right here on your uptrend. I'm still going to point it out. I pointed it out in yesterday's video. But guess what? Uptrend, golden pocket test, earnings. We're going to have to see what those earnings bring. Over here was a massive mover. Okay, big move up. There's a 30% move. Over here was also another massive mover. You also had a pretty decent sized move. Okay, yes, you gapped down, but then you had a 22% move to end off the day. But intraday, you had that 30% move. Boom. Right here, 16% move. All right, in total, you had like a 25% move. What about this one right here? You had this from right here at a high. You're up 20%. I told you guys, for you gamblers, I got you here on this channel. All right, you want to know the tickers that you might want to gamble on and how to go about it. I think this might be one that, hey, Long's got a decent technical freaking setup right here. And I don't think it's looking bad at all. Another one I don't think is looking bad that has earnings is Mara. You got chance for explosions. I don't think they're going to come off of earnings, though. I'm just saying. Mara does not move off of earnings. It does not. Speaking of moving off of earnings, Diz, dead. All right? Disney, change of structure, just like I pointed out on SPY. All right? SPY, you got this. Change in structure, bullish structure. All right? Well, that was your first leg down. We come over to Diz. Okay? Change in structure. You broke and retested over here. You get a buyer stepping in, and then wham, they get slammed down. Well, anybody who is buying over here, just big underwater here. All right, this thing likely goes lower all the way down to 96.51. That's going to be the high of this candlestick right here. Watch it. Let's set an alert for it. And that is a trade idea waiting to happen. Let's get it. I'm going to put that right there. Okay. Think that is about it. I do think I could have swore there was one other one to talk about. I know there was one other one with a decent setup I wanted to bring up. It is not here in my watch list, though. I guess I'll leave you off over here with Oxy, guys. Oxy, break and retest. Just like you had the break and retest off your key level right here. You were ranging, break and retest. I told you guys about this. This is your ideal short entry. You have the uptrend, okay? Break and retest off this level. This was the exact plan. Guess what? You now slice down through your uptrend. You probably do have a bigger move coming. Why? Change in structure. You now have bearish structure. It's not like these little freaking pullbacks. You get a big guy. It makes the lower high. It makes the lower low. Change in structure. Break and retest. This thing probably heading down to 61.72. That is going to be the high of this candlestick right here. 61.64. That is what you pay attention to. All right. 61.67. That's where you're paying attention to. All right. Let's get the level right. There you go. Okay. With that being said, I hope everybody has a lovely rest of their day. And peace.